Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Junaid, and my question to you today is when do you know when you're the expert? I know that's a weird question, but when is it that you realize that you're the expert in the space for the thing that you talk about? Let's put that question up here and see if you can answer it for me. Because I didn't know I was the expert in this space till I was told that you're the expert. But I think it also comes down to how much time are you really spending in your zone of genius? Now, I've spent my time setting up this messy studio to make it look at least as clean as I can through the use of the trifecta photography. The trifecta photography. Now, this is something that my good friend James mentioned. And sure, I knew about this, but I didn't know this is what it was called. So what is the trifecta of photography? Well, if you look at your lens, you'll see only two numbers. Only two numbers. And one number might have a dash in the middle of it. So it might be an f/3.5 to 6.5 because it's a zoom lens, or maybe it'll just say f1.4 or f1.8. So that's number one. The second number would be a 50 or a 24 or a 16. So there's only two numbers on the lens. So where does the trifecta come from? The trifecta of photography comes from the third number, which is your ISO, or the sensitivity for your lens. But again, let's scale back and say, when do you know that you're the expert? So I'm looking for these questions. James Muller is here. What happening, brother? Yeah, man. So my question is, when do you know that you're the expert? It's probably when you're told that you're the expert. Or maybe you're self-proclaimed expert on AI that's been around for maybe 2 years. But it hasn't been around for 2 years. It's been around a lot longer than the 2 years. It's been around for as long as the human beings have talked about it, AI, right? We've had movies, we've had so many things. But I think it all changed when OpenAI opened up the floodgates with ChatGPT. It's really changed the world. Now, what that enabled us to do is to be really cognizant of what we were pulling from it. Not just pulling, but we were also feeding it. Now, I used to work at a company. We built enterprise level software. I designed enterprise level software, and we were spending a lot of time in AI/ML. A lot of people were talking about ML, machine learning. What is machine learning, and what do you got to do with your data set? What do you got to do with the technology? Like, what is actually happening? Well, machine learning is a way to teach the machine what kind of output you want from it. So why would you teach the machine? Well, just like how we teach our children, just like how we teach human beings, just like how we learn information about different technologies, about different subjects. Could be science, mathematics, could be the Bible, could be Quran, could be anything, right? What are we doing? We are learning that stuff as much as we can. We are going in depth. We're going to the libraries. We're reading books on those topics. We continue to learn. And as you learn that, you're putting that in your brain. James has an answer here. I wanna make it a little larger so we can. I have heard it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert in something. To professionally do it and teach others in a way that they're able to understand and grasp it. Absolutely, brother. And that's very true. And that's the 10,000 hour rule that I think Malcolm Gladwell talked about in his book. Which of the books? I can't remember. I've read a few of his books, but I can't remember which book it was. But that 10,000 hour rule, it gets you so good that you don't even have to think about doing that thing. Like, for example, if I were to jump in the car, I know exactly what to do without even looking at the controls to drive. In fact, you probably remember driving from home to work, but not remembering how you got there because it's all a learned behavior now. Well, that's when you know you're the expert. So I've been really lucky to be helping people set up their studios, and just by looking at the photo of their space, I can tell you what you need to change in that space. And if I listen to the audio, I'll know exactly where you're sitting and what kind of things you need to do in your studio. That's the fun part, because when you become an expert in that kind of thing, you kind of understand where things are coming from. Regardless. So, answer that question for yourself. Are you an expert, and what are you an expert in? Now, I've been really lucky to grow up in the technology space. My first introduction to computers was in 1992. Now, sure, we had computers at school, but I never really got to use those computers as much. I was a teenager, didn't really get to use those computers until the day my dad brought a computer at home. That changed everything. And if you remember the story of Bill Gates had access to a computer in his neighborhood at this large company where he had untethered access. He spent more time on that computer than the people working at that company. And when that happens, you're able to exceed and go farther in your knowledge than ever before. In fact, Kobe Bryant talks about this. He said, most people do 2 workouts a day, especially if you're a basketball player. They'll have 2 workouts or training sessions per se in a day. But if you just get up 1 hour earlier, you can fit in 4 workouts in a day. And when you do 4 workouts in a day, or 4 practice sessions in a day, or 4 of something in a day, guess what's happening? You are learning at twice the rate of everybody else. You are getting better at twice the rate than everybody else. In fact, my daughter, we had so many swim sessions left. We had all these tokens built up, about 11 of these, because we were traveling, so we'd missed a swimming session, and she was on a certain stage for a long time because they're going weekly. They're going once a week. Well, we wanted to use up all of these sessions, so we decided, how about we find times and try to use up these tokens. Within 2 weeks, she leveled up twice, from Glider 3 to Pro 1 to Pro 2. And she went from Pro 1 to Pro 2 within 3 days, because she spent so much more time in the pool. It's like condensing an entire month into 1 week. Because when you're doing 4 sessions a week as opposed to 4 sessions a month, guess what you're doing? You're doing 4 times more work that week, and you learn so much faster. And that's why I batch produce my content. I batch record my podcast episodes because I want to get there so much faster. And because I've been recording 4 podcast episodes every single week, I've got the system down pat. So when do you know that you're the expert? Is it when you spend a lot of time on it? Or is it when you spend a lot of time with somebody else? Now, there's a lot of technologies available today that can get you there even faster. I love Grant Cardone's methodology of 10xing because you're not anymore working alone. And the only way to get to 10x is by having teams around you or working with people around you that are going to get you there so much faster. Got another good friend here, Eric. Eric, hey, good to see you, man. So when do you know that you're the expert? Answer that question for yourself. Drop it in the comments if you know. And if you want to be a guest on this podcast, hit a like button or hit a heart or, send me a DM. Hey, I want to be a guest on your podcast. I'd be happy to bring you on and learn about your expertise, because that's the only way to get better at your own expertise, by talking about it, by teaching it, by implementing it, by delving even deeper into it. Yesterday, I had 4 calls all around sales, and I was blown away because, again, that 4xing, right? Instead of attending a call once a week, I did 4 calls in one day, all on the same topic. Now, I do need to go back and consolidate my notes and take the stuff out, what I learned from it. But again, I put so much good stuff in my head that the only thing that's coming out is, again, good stuff. So when do you know that you're the expert? When you spend a ton of time on it. When people start looking at you and telling you that you're the expert. I'm so excited to consolidate and put all the information that I've gained, all the questions that I've had over the years in helping people set up their studios. I cannot wait to introduce you to the 7 stages of home studio evolution. And the coolest part is you can start right now in your space, in the gear that you have. The key is not the gear. It's never the gear. Trust me. Yes, all of these camera looks fancy. It's really cool, right? But I didn't know how to drive this Ferrari. I didn't know how to drive this Lamborghini till I spent time with it, till I worked on the script, till I worked on my ability to speak on the topic that I loved. Till you spend time in speaking, can you be a better speaker? Till you spend time in writing, can you be a better writer? Till you spend time on the bike, can you be a better biker, better cyclist? What's the word? So again, spend the time in your expertise, and the more you do it, the better you get at it. But the key to it is to get started now. And if you haven't gotten started yet, well, what are you waiting for? In fact, really good friend of mine, he was a guest on the podcast. He actually shared with me this song by Nickelback. It's called What Are You Waiting For? And the lyrics are really amazing. I'm just typing in over here on my browser. So the song is called What Are You Waiting For? And it has really awesome lyrics. All right, I need to pull up the lyrics so I can tell you a little bit. Now, the reason I always go back to the music is because I love to sing. And in fact, almost 20 plus years ago, I did not like the sound of my own voice. I didn't. I was like, who is this weird guy? What does he sound like? But it wasn't until I started singing that I got comfortable with my voice. Because when you sing, there's a little bit of rhythm, there's a little bit of gravitas, there's a little bit of something else that comes through when you're singing. So here's the song. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting on a lightning strike? Are you waiting for the perfect night? Are you waiting till the time is right? What are you waiting for? Don't you want to learn to deal with fear? Don't you want to take the wheel and steer? Don't you wait another minute here? What are you waiting for? So don't wait, guys. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. J.R. Sparrow says, an expert I feel takes 10 years. You're absolutely right. If you're spending 1,000 hours a year on the craft that you want to perfect, it will take you 10 years. Now, 1,000 hours, 1,000 hours divided by 365 days. Let's do 365 days divided by, let's take out the weekends, which is about 152 weekends. That's 110 days. 110 days. That's 255 days left. Minus, let's say, 2 more weeks. Minus 14. So let's say you have 241 days that you can spend 8 hours on your craft. That's 1,928 hours per day. So if you're spending 8 hours every single day in perfecting your craft, you can get to your mastery within 5 years. It might take you another 5 years to get good at marketing, but you're absolutely right. You're probably not going to spend 8 hours in doing that one thing. So 240 days times 4 hours a day, that's about 1,000 hours. So 10 years is about the right time. Now, JR is also asking, my question is, how do you get to a level of mastery? I love that question. Now, the 10,000 hour rule is a beginning point of where you're the expert. The mastery comes in because you're spending even more time in helping others solve their solutions or solve their problems or creating solutions for them. That's where the mastery comes in, because the more you spend time in it, the more you solve other people's problems. Because what's happening most of the times, you're solving your own problem, you're solving your own gripes to it, you're going through the growing pains. But multiply that by 3 or 4 or 5 people that you're now helping. Well, now you're growing even faster. And because you know the answers, and because you keep practicing that answers, because you keep practicing in your brain, you get to a level of mastery that others can see without you even having to say anything. And I'm still working on getting to that mastery level. I think I'm an expert, but again, it's something that you continue to evolve into if you want to get good at it. Right? For example, the movie Gran Turismo was put together, and they were like, hey, we're bringing on video gamers that have been playing video games in their homes, and we want to put them in a real car. And people are like, what? That's never gonna work. What are you talking about? These are kids. They don't know how to drive cars. But if you look at the setups of these people, they have full on steering wheels, gears, paddle shifters, like all the things that would go in a car. And of course, the movie showed really amazing things these kids could drive. But the things that you can never, not heard of, or experienced are things that a seasoned driver would know because they've been on the road. They've experienced it a lot more than what you would in a video game. Anyways, it was a really cool movie. And again, just go back to your thoughts. Think about what are you an expert in and how can you get to the mastery level. So thank you, J.R. Sparrow, for that question. I love it. And that's why I help people set up their spaces. Here's I'm gonna do a little more of that song on what are you waiting for. So here you go. You got to go and reach for the top. Believe in every dream. Believe in every dream that you've got. You're only living once, so tell me, what are you waiting for? You know you got to give it all. You know you've got to give it your all, and don't be afraid if you fall. You're only living once, so tell me, what are you waiting for? So guys, thanks so much for sticking around. I've got another podcast recording in 8 minutes. I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Thanks again. Think about that question. When do you know that you're the expert? All right, take care and catch you tomorrow or the next video. Who knows?